We are on to this is going to be fun, Grant. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Grant, this is the best defense of all time. True or false?
I'm going to say false. That can't be right.
So, I mean, the season still hasn't ended, but it's actually true. As of right now, they would be tied for the lowest defensive rating in NBA history with the Washington Bullets. However, the best way to actually do this, and I don't think this is going too far into the weeds, but if you want to see who's been the best defense or offense of all time, or worse for that matter, you should look at how they compare relative to the league average at that time, because pacing is so different across eras. And so we call that adjusted defensive rating, which is just basically you're going to take the league average defensive rating, divide it by the actual teams, like the team's actual defensive rating, and then multiply it by 100. So when you do that with the Oklahoma City, so by the way, in this course, the higher defensive number is better. Their adjusted defensive rating, the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, 123.54. The best defense of all time, Mr. Grant Hughes, adjusted defensive rating of all time, comes from the 1963 to 1964 Boston Celtics. They had an adjusted defensive rating of 112.89. So let's just round 123.5 to 112.9. That's not even close right now. Again, so few games into the season, I just wouldn't rule out the possibility that they wind up having statistically the best defense of all time. They are forcing, you know how good they are on defense, Grant? They're getting hurt because they're playing too many garbage time minutes at the moment, because they're forcing turnovers when all their best players are on the court like crazy. But you look at their overall turnover rate, it's only top 35 of all time, but it's so much lower than their non-garbage time turnover rate, which is they're forcing turnovers on more than 20% of their possessions. They are all versatility and aggressiveness and smarts and limbs, and they don't even have good, their best defensive rebounder on the team, who is Isaiah Hartenstein, is yet to play. And so they're still susceptible to, if you're going to go up against kind of burlier bigs, they are missing. I don't know where you would put him in the ranking of their most important defenders, but if I just put him smack dab in the middle and said, well, they're missing their third or fourth most important defender and are still just, and it's not even close, by the way. Like, you can't say this is the best defense in the league and have that be bold. That's an understatement at this point. Yeah. This team has the chance to be so statistically dominant relative to the field, relative to the era that we're in. I don't think we have fully appreciated it yet.
And the numbers are super persuasive. It's just and even if you just look at the raw numbers, a defensive rating in non-garbage time of 92.5 is
what's the next best one, Grant?
Oh, it's yours and my Golden State Warriors at 97.9, which would have led the league last year by like 1 trillion points, by the way. Way better than Minnesota. But yeah, the raw number is insane. And then just whatever catch-all you want to use, I always kind of default to EPM. I think Hartenstein and Caruso were both in the top 5, and the Thunder defense was 4th in the league last year. And you just throw those two guys into it, and it's like, well, yeah, but just and anecdotally, there's nowhere to pick at. Like, if they have anything close, if you put Isaiah Joe or there's guys they will play that you could oh, good, there's someone we can sort of go at. But when this team is even close to fully healthy, I just don't know, who are you attacking? It's really the predatory stuff goes the other way. It's like Alex Caruso is attacking his matchup, and Lou Dort is physically attacking the guy that has the ball. The dynamic, this defense is so good it flips the dynamic of who's actually trying to attack the other.
They're you can, because I don't know, this isn't the easiest thing to do, but if you're an offensive player, no matter how good you are, it's, well, let me just get off the ball and then someone else can go after someone. You can't even.
There's nowhere to go.
Finding that matchup, it's about, can I even get rid of the ball for us to be put in any sort of advantage? And you can't. Now, we do have to play the devil's advocate front here. Opponents are shooting 50% at the rim. They're shooting 29% from 3. I think that's the best mark in the league in both. No, excuse me. They're only 2nd in 3-point defense. So they suck. Let's move on. But what I will say is the fact that I will say there was probably noise in the 3-point. There's always, I'm sure there'll be a Thunder fan or 20 in the, well, no, they actually do. No,
there's always noise.
There's always noise in 3-point defense. The rim defense, do I expect it to be a 50% all season? Holy hell no. Yeah. But I think you could argue that they don't have what could maybe be their best, we're talking standstill verticality. Chet Holmgren is more of a dynamic rim protector. Yes, he's better, but if Isaiah Hartenstein, like he's your second best rim protector, like you're playing without really another big at this point when you look at the injury to Jay Will. So I want to leave the door open that even if you don't think, if you're going to say, no, I'm not comfortable with too many of these guys don't play enough, or they're not stars, or I'm not going to remember, they're not going to be Hall of Famers. If you want to go that route, that's fine. I believe that this is my overreaction. I believe this team has a case to finish the season with, statistically, what is the best defense relative to the league average in NBA history.
Yeah. I mean, this is an overreaction because that's what we're doing, but that so far is the one that's like actually the hardest to like. Cam Thomas is less likely to average 30. How about that? Than the Thunder are to finish with the best defense.
I wonder where this would rank when we're done here shortly, hopefully, where this would rank against all our other overreactions. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be the spiciest or least likeliest by
oh no, I mean, it might be the least. I mean, which is crazy because it's the most hyperbolic. You're saying the best thing of all time of anything. That shouldn't be a safe prediction, but it feels that way.
Oh man. All right. It is your turn. And we're on to, you had to pivot here.
Yep.
With the news. This is rough. The Orlando Magic.
Yeah. So prior to the news that Paolo Banchero has a torn oblique, which is like, I didn't know he was like hitting fifth for the Tampa Bay Rays because that's a baseball injury, generally speaking. It was going to be that the Magic were going to bust out of this ridiculous trend of having crappy offense. They haven't had a league average offensive rating since 2011-12. And they had been looking a lot better. And Paolo obviously had the 50-pointer and just looked like he'd taken another step after making the All-Star team last year. Now that he's out, I think the overreaction is that Orlando's got to make a trade that focuses on holding up the offense, one, while Paolo's out, and two, to get it up to the level that, like, I don't know, honors how good this defense can be. So, you know, so the defense actually isn't just, you know, kicking ass and then, oh man, they couldn't, you know, they scored 106 points tonight. Like that just can't continue if the Magic want to get where they, you know, their talent suggests they can. So I would just throw out all the usual suspects. Like, you got to take a look at Zach LaVine and Anthony Simons. And if you don't want to think quite that big, I don't know, you could downgrade from there, but like, it's just got to be, you've got to find a way, because Paolo, you know, is on the short list of guys who just matters more to his team's offense than most. So unless you want to go through this stretch where maybe you're 500, maybe you're worse than that without him, you just have to find some scoring. So, I mean, that's been an issue like before the injury, but I just think it's like now it's non-negotiable.
Yeah. And it's, there could be pushback, but you just want to look at Paolo Banchero on the floor this year, Grant. The Magic, 117.7 points per 100 possessions. That's in the 78th percentile. Without Paolo Banchero on the court, Grant, that drops to 97.9, which is in the first percentile.
It's like they're being defended by the Warriors' number 2 defense all the time.
Not the OKC defense, though, because they would be in the 0th percentile. Right? I don't know. You look at this roster, and I think, look, they've impressed me when you look at their shot diet overall. And like this is with, I mean, KCP will shoot better than 16.7% on 3. And I'm assuming Wendell Carter Jr. will eventually shoot at least over 15% from 3. Like, are Franz Wagner, my point here is, are your best shooters right now, when you look at a Jalen Suggs or a Franz Wagner, when Paolo isn't going to be on the court for the entire game, are they going to continue to shoot as well from 3? And so where are you going to make up some of these made 3-pointers? Maybe it normalizes to where it's just at right now because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope makes more of his shots, but that's going to be a concern. I think even more than that is, even if you think Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner are ready to shoulder more of the creation, like our Anthony Black, who was impressed this year, hit a game-winning 3, shout out Anthony Black, and Cole Anthony, like, is that enough? Just second, like, just those 4 players are now your, I don't even want to say your best. Are they your only initiators? Who am I missing?
And no, I was going to say, like, the shooting is an issue, but the shot creation and playmaking was a bigger issue before Paolo got hurt, right? Like, I think you're focused on exactly the right thing.
More and Wendell Carter Jr. at the elbows now. Is that what?
Maybe this is just Anthony Black now. Like, you know, because he's looked impressive and so far, certainly relative to last year. And what is he averaging? He's second behind Paolo in assists per game, and he's playing 25 minutes. Like, he's not, you know, out there a ton. Like, maybe this is just where I don't know, we get an answer, or we get a much clearer indicator of like how big of a role can Anthony Black have in this offense than we've had to this point. I'm not saying it's like, well, we're going to find out for sure if he justifies the pick that they used on him, but it's like, I think we're going to get a lot of information. I hope we get a lot of information, because I'm very curious to see, is Anthony Black more than like, got length, good defender, maybe down the line, connective passer,
jump shots definitely better than like standstill jumpers, definitely better than we thought.
Can we see if like, okay, let's maybe stretch some of that and see what else might be there. I don't know. If you're looking for like the glass half full, that's it.
Well, I'm also hoping, and by the way, he's not been efficient as a pick and roll scorer this year, 0.7 possessions. And that's accounted for a larger share. When I'm watching the Magic, I didn't feel that he was doing that as much as he is. I'm hoping we will see, because a way to maybe alleviate some of the pressure would be, let's uncork Jet Howard more and really try and like put pressure on defenses away from the ball. Might be the way to go.
Yeah.